Hey there, how's it going? Today's video is going to be a quick one. When I wrote the edit code last time and couldn't test it on QEMU, I said I was going to test it on real hardware. So that's what we will do today. First, I want to touch up on how to set up a test machine with a serial connection. No computer built in the last 10 years has a DB9 serial port, for all I know, so we'll need to sort that out first. The first step is to check that your motherboard has a COM port. My test machine, which is my old computer, has an Asus Strix Z270 motherboard. And if I look up the manual, I can see that it has a COM port, which is a 10-pins connector. If your test motherboard has a COM port, then you're golden. You just need a COM to a DB9 adapter cable. I don't want a cable dangling from my test machine, so I opted for an adapter that goes in a PCI slot, like this one. If your test computer does not have a COM port, you will need a COM port PCI module, something like this. You can find either on something like Amazon fairly easily. We typically need a serial port on both the test and dev machines for them to communicate, but I opted for a serial to USB cable with an RS-232 protocol conversion chip, something like a PL2303 or equivalent. That means that I can use the serial port I installed on my test machine, but on my dev machine I can just plug it into USB. The next step would be to burn the disk image we generate from compiling our operating system to a USB stick to boot from it. I usually use Rufus for this as it's hassle-free. On a side note, while tinkering with the UEFI system on my test machine, I noticed that it doesn't have an EFI shell, so I had to download one from the internet. I copied it to the root of the disk image before burning it. Now that we have everything we need, we can start testing. So cable goes to the serial port on test machine and USB on dev machine. I use PuTTY as my serial terminal. You can choose to use Minicom, it works the exact same, but I'll stick to PuTTY on this one. So let's run PuTTY and connect to COM3, which is where our serial adapter USB cable is. We also need to set up the serial baud rate. We use the ratio 3 in our code, so it will be 38400. We also need to set up 8N1, 8 bits data, no parity, and 1 stop bit. Alright, we just need to boot our UEFI bootloader now from our test machine. For that we need to ensure that the boot order is set up so that our USB drive is picked first. Change the boot priorities if needed. And there we have it, we can now see logs from our test machine on our dev machine. I have this test machine connected to a physical monitor, so I can get the EDIT information from it. So if we zoom into our logs, we can see that the EDIT protocol returns us the size of this 1080p monitor. That's it for this one. Hope you learned something. Until next time, see ya.